Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Aussie Starcraft as we bring you a continuation in this series of CM StormPolt versus LiquidHero. This is the grand finals of IEM Cologne. We're currently seeing our blue Protoss player lead Polt 2-1 in this series. It is a best of 7 series, so first player to 4 wins will take the lot, and we've just been seeing some incredible games throughout this series. Just some of the finest Protoss versus Terran that we've seen in a long time. Hero just seeming to be in such great form. Polt, one of the best Terran players in the world, but just struggling to find an answer to Hero in this tournament. Now, a lot has to be said about Polt's play throughout this tournament. At a time when Terran players around the world seem to be really struggling to deal with Protoss, Polt has taken on and defeated both Classic and Rain on his way to this grand final. So, taking on a number of the top Protoss players in the world, Polt seeming to be in great form, particularly in TvP, but Hero just doing even better so far in this tournament. So 2-1, we'll see what these players have for us. Yeonsu, quite a small map, so but the rush distance between these two players is quite small, so I wouldn't be surprised to see some quite early aggression out of either of these players, both well known for it. Hero are particularly fond of it during this tournament. And Yeonsu, just as a map in general, tends to favour a very aggressive and dynamic game. As you can see, posturing and positioning on the high ground, all important, easy to threaten either player's third base from a high ground location, makes for quite a dicey defensive proposition, and tends to force both players to react quite a lot more than they would during an ordinary game. So looks like Hero's going to be scouting out nice and early. Not a lot to see in Polt's space. Polt is opening as he has traditionally opened. Going to be a Reaper first opening. Loves the early scout that provides. I think we've seen Polt open exactly the same way almost every game for, well, probably about the last 18 months. But is very consistent, and Polt, rather than go for a sort of dicey build order win, tends to, as a Terran player, favour just the consistency, relying on things like his micro and multitasking in the mid game to try and carry the day, and carry him it has. He did win both WCS America Season 2 and Season 3, so showing just how good his build and strategy is. But doesn't seem to have an answer for Hero here at IEM Cologne. We'll see if he can do it this game, or whether Hero is going to take a 3-1 lead in the series. We have a Mothership Core and a Nexus being thrown down for Hero, so looks like both our players are settling into a somewhat slower macro game than some of the games we've seen in this tournament so far. Mothership Core is going to be popping out, so there'll be plenty of energy for a Photon overcharge by the time those first Terran units decide to move out across the map. Warp Gate coming along now, as well as the second gas. And we also have another pylon coming up for Lennox. It's so easy to get that wrong with Hero playing on Lennox account. Now, here I love what Hero has done with the wall in here, using Cybercore and Gateway just to try and block this Reaper being able to scout. Now you'll notice the Reaper can't actually see this zone behind the base without making his way all the way around, so with some well positioned stalkers, Hero could very well deny scouting to Polt. If we check out Polt's vision, you can see where he's limited to, so if Hero drops anything in this space here behind the minerals, it'd be quite difficult for Polt to check that, and we'll actually need to throw down a scan, which is just another little advantage. So Polt obviously going to want to be getting that Reaper in there sometime soon. We have a stalker on the high ground just to try and persuade this Reaper to scout somewhere else. And we actually have Hero now throwing down his Twilight Council in that gap. So perfect position. If we go back to Polt's side, it wouldn't be able to see that. So nice positioning from Hero there. It's a very innovative sort of base design. A lot of players, there's not a lot of rhyme or reason to what they position and where, but Protoss, with the amount of sneaky sort of build order strategies that they can execute, make this sort of tactic and this sort of hiding of tech very, very practical. Particularly on Yeonsu, which is such a great Blink Stalker map. Very easy for Hero to do some sort of Blink Stalker play, or even an all-in at this point, and force Polt to try and defend right along the entirety of this ridge, as well as the gap into his natural. It's quite easy to blink up into either base and make life very difficult for a defender. Particularly, we've seen a few games decided on Yeonsu by a nice Time Warp thrown down on the ramp while Blink Stalkers are attacking one or both the expansions. Makes it very difficult for the Terran to get mobile between those bases. and generally leads to Protoss taking quite an early lead in the game. The Stimpack research is halfway completed now. A few Stalkers coming out for here as well. It looks like the Reaper's actually made his way in to scout that, so Polt going to be very aware of the fact that Blink Stalker play is incoming. It looks like Polt actually taking a very bold move. I like this out of Polt. Rather than throw down a lot of bunkers to try and defend, well, he is throwing down some bunkers, but rather than rely purely on the bunkers, actually trying to posture aggressively on the map. And probably under the assumption that if Hero's busy defending his base, his Blink Stalkers won't be able to threaten Polt. I like that choice from Polt. I think it's a great way to deal with it. A lot of Terran players get caught in their base, moving between their natural and their main base, and just lose a lot of units while they try and defend the nice Blink micro of Protoss players. But Polt deciding it's going to be a little bit easier to deal with it if he's on the aggression. I gotta say I agree with him. Proxy pylon being established by Hero now. Polt's got to be very careful. If you could clean that pylon up, it would certainly lower the pressure that he's feeling right now as these Stalkers move out across the map. We've already got 6 Stalkers on the map. I believe we are up to 4 warp gates. No, 3 warp gates. So there's plenty of units that can be warped in to support this aggression. If we look at Polt's economy at this point in the game, he's likewise only building 3 Marines and a Marauder in each cycle. So fairly even production. Of course, you can chrono boost a warp gate to make it that little bit quicker. Well, one Stalker. Ooh. Nice blink out's going to save that Stalker, but looks like Polt may well choose to knock down this pile and ensure that this attack never really gets started. Mothership Core actually going down there is a big win for Polt, as now these bases are going to be shy of a photon overcharge. Looks like Hero's really going to be committing to this. We have another 4 gateways coming down, taking us up to a 7 gate total, and this is certainly going to be able to put a lot of pressure on Polt. Unfortunately, Hero did lose quite a lot of Stalkers in those engagements, so probably can't afford to be quite as aggressive as he perhaps was intending. Polt now with quite a sizable army here, moving out in the middle of the map. We have the factory doing its dues and scouting. Though this Marine is going to find this probe of Hero, and that's certainly going to be very helpful for Polt. Doesn't want any more proxy pylons established. However, unfortunately, I don't think Polt is going to locate the pylons tucked over there on the left hand side of the map, so going to be very useful for some counterattacks. Hero going to blink that other Stalker away to preserve it, so Hero really doing a great job with sight, and sight is very important in this stage of the game. Well, any stage of the game really, but particularly when you enter the mid game versus Polt. Polt's medevac play is just absolutely insane. We have 2 medevacs popping out now, 2 already on the field. Polt is more than capable of multi-prong dropping 2, 3, even 4 drops at a time, so you have to be particularly careful. We have another Stalker roaming his way out, gonna pick off the Marine before the Marines find this pylon. And we have Polt just continuing to make his way around the map, trying to decide how to best try and exploit Hero's defense. Hero already got the High Templars, so straight past Colossus Tech and into Templars, which does make sense when you go for the early blink play. Is only 1 step to the High Templars, so throw down the Templar Archives and grabbing Storm is going to give him the DPS he needs to defend, which is particularly important because the Mothership Core was actually taken out, and that Nexus Cannon wasn't a reliable defense for a few minutes there in the middle of the game. So looks like Polt gesturing quietly with 2 fairly large bioforces moving out here. Potential for either of these to pick up and drop. Probe's going to get taken out though. It's a big stim. I don't know that he quite wants to stim that prematurely. It looks like we're actually going to see the Mothership Core go down. Oh no! Failing to snipe the Mothership Core, and Storm's on a time warp. Beautiful play by Hero. They're going to catch a lot of that bio. We just see the Terran graveyard as that force is group of bio units is forced back. Now, very nice bait from Hero there. You could see that Polt was in fact focusing his Mothership Core down. He has picked it off at the start of almost every engagement. Nice snipe on the High Templar there though. It is going to be a big win for Polt. Every one of those he can take down is certainly well worth it. The Mothership Core does go down that time, so it looks like he won't be getting caught out in the same way anytime soon. Though cleaning up the pylons as best he can though. Hero just going crazy with these pylon placements. No matter how many of them Polt's taken out, he has cleaned out something like 6 of them, and Hero's just his probes are going wild. There's more and more every minute. Hero just going to be sending a lone Zealot in to cause some problems here at the third base. Lots of mules here that could potentially be taken out. And Zealot just going to town on a few of these gas workers. He will get 1 kill, 2 kill, 3 kills. So that Zealot already making his costs back for Hero and damaging the economy of Polt just a little bit. But with 3 bases up and mining, Polt is in the money position for Terran. As soon as the Terran player gets that third base up and running, he tends to be able to just absolutely power the production for the next 8 or 10 minutes. So we see Polt throwing down 4 more barracks to try and supplement his production. Going to be producing a heck of a lot of units for the next few minutes, and this is a stage of the game just so difficult for Protoss players. They tend to really struggle between the 10 and 20 minute marks, particularly once that third base is up and running. We see the Terran player just doing an absolute daisy chain of units, and we can see 4 Marines and 3 Marauders at a time, and that's without these 3 more barracks that are throwing down their add-ons right now. So have quite a few more tech labs, 2 tech labs and a reactor, so we're actually seeing Ghosts now as well. So I really like this choice out of Polt. Ghost doing a massive amount of damage. Obviously very bad for the High Templars, but also the ability to remove the shields from the rest of the army is super important. Have Hero trying to move out here, and if we check out the unit composition, we can see that Hero has an incredibly large group of Zealots here. 33 Zealots on the field is quite high, particularly for this stage of the game, though the Zealots are doing a great job of tanking this bio's damage, ensuring that Polt can't actually get into the position he'd like. There is a lot of High Templars in the main with full energy, so potential for drops here for Polt is struggling just a bit, trying to make his way into this main base while there's this many High Templars and Zealots and Cannons in positions. Just so hard to make it work, but these Zealots are all going to get cleaned up for free here. Another attack from Polt going to be falling back in the midfield. Lots of Zealots trying to chase this down, but the medevac's just going to be on top of that all day long. We have 4 medevacs heading for a drop in the main, so Hero's out of position. Polt's going to go for a drop in the main, but the High Templars feed back in these medevacs, and nice Storm on the buy. A few units do get unloaded, but there's a massive warp in here from Hero to clean this up, and there's so many Zealots, and unfortunately for Polt, probably not focusing down these units as best he could. So going to kill a few of these Zealots, but unfortunately his whole drop going to get cleaned up there. And the Archon here is actually going to get the medevac on its way out, so almost getting a second one there. That would have been quite devastating for Polt. Nice blink forward from Heroes, really put Polt on the back foot now. Unfortunately that drop not being executed with Polt's general perfection, I should say. His drops have just traditionally been controlled so very well, but unfortunately for Polt, obviously getting caught out in the middle of the map there and unable to micro that drop with his usual precision. Though we have a huge amount of Ghosts now in the middle of the map, 7 Ghosts here, so potential for this next engagement to go Polt's way is quite high. There are a few High Templar with disarming, but being forced to throw down a Storm on 3 or 4 units, never the ideal situation. Nice EMP going down will force that army back out of position. Hero knows that he just can't afford to engage here. We have ground weapons level 3 and armor level 3 coming up now for our Protoss player. For our Terran player, it's only weapons 3, armor 2, so going to be a slight upgrade advantage for Hero going into the later stage of this game. Personal cloaking coming up for the Ghost, very important, allows them to sneak in, then EMP the High Templars and the army. We have a first Colossus on the field from Hero, but unfortunately for Polt, only 1 starport at this point in the game, so Vikings only being produced 2 at a time, and these 2 way out of position, obviously trying to clean up some sort of earlier Warp Prism harass. This army in the middle of the field from Polt, though, continuing to take damage. Will the Protoss player advance up this ramp? I think that's a horrible choice. EMP is going to blanket that army, but Hero doesn't care. He's just going for it anyway, and the Colossus just sitting at the back of his army doing so much damage, isn't taking any damage. The Zealots have just tanked so much of Polt, and I think Polt is just in massive trouble here. These Ghosts can't actually, they have no units tanking for them, and they're just taking massive damage. This Colossus has managed to micro its way back and forward throughout this entire engagement, taking almost no damage other than that initial EMP, and I think Hero may have done it here. 170 supply to 120. I think he's going to take a 3-1 lead in this series, and Polt really struggling to deal with our Protoss player. We have so many reinforcements coming in, and Polt's last stand of Marines and Marauders here. Another nice EMP from from the Ghost here on the main body of this army, but unfortunately it's too little too late. Hero shot up to 150 supply, and the Colossus just continuing to do so much work here. Micro on the edge of the ramp, there's literally nothing that can touch him. Polt going to stim around to try and catch the Colossus out of position, but there's just still so many units here. Big storm on the army is going to take out two of the medevacs there. A third medevac goes down just sitting in the storm. I think Polt is breaking here under the pressure. Hero just continuing to push into this army over and over. The medevacs all being taken out. There's 3 left, 2 of them on red health. There's possibly the most damaged medevac flight we've ever seen here, as they just continue to get picked off by Hero. Polt numbers continuing to drop here as Hero starts to get units in the main base of Polt, and I think this might be the end for our Terran player here now. It looks like victory number 3 to Hero, trying to hold on. Unfortunately, probably need to pull the SCV as well. Storms on the mineral line, that's going to force Polt out of the game as we see Hero go to a staggering 42 workers killed. So just a nice game out of Hero there. We just saw consistently great engagements from Hero. Managed to play the patience game, defended against the drops just so much better than he has in previous games, and Hero just looking untouchable in this tournament. 3-1 lead over Polt, and that's incredibly rare. Polt's TvP, as we said earlier, has just been in great form this tournament. I can't help but feel like we're going to see some sort of comeback from him. Polt's not one to go down easy. I would be extremely surprised if this series ends 4-2. Let us know down below, who do you think's going to win? Do you think Hero can hold on to it? No checking the spoilers, guys. Do you think Hero can hold on to it, or will we see Polt make a comeback as he has so many times before? Find out here on Aussie StarCraft, because it's coming up in the next cast.